the new god of hate, the new gods of hates, a new god of hate, the new goddess of hate, the new goddesses of hates, a new goddess of hate, the old god of hate, the old gods of hates, a old god of hate, the old goddess of hate, the old goddesses of hates, a old goddess of hate, the greater god of hate, the greater gods of hates, a greater god of hate, the greater goddess of hate, the greater goddesses of hates, a greater goddess of hate, the lesser god of hate, the lesser gods of hates, a lesser god of hate, the lesser goddess of hate, the lesser goddesses of hates, a lesser goddess of hate, the greater spirit of hate, the greater spirits of hates, a greater spirit of hate, the lesser spirit of hate, the lesser spirits of hates, a lesser spirit of hate, the major god of hate, the major gods of hates, a major god of hate, the major goddess of hate, the major goddesses of hates, a major goddess of hate, the minor god of hate, the minor gods of hates, a minor god of hate, the minor goddess of hate, the minor goddesses of hates, a minor goddess of hate, the superior god of hate, the superior gods of hates, a superior god of hate, the superior goddess of hate, the superior goddesses of hates, a superior goddess of hate, the inferior god of hate, the inferior gods of hates, a inferior god of hate, the inferior goddess of hate, the inferior goddesses of hates, a inferior goddess of hate, the ancestor god of hate, the ancestor gods of hates, a ancestor god of hate, the ancestor goddess of hate, the ancestor goddesses of hates, a ancestor goddess of hate, the ascendant god of hate, the ascendant gods of hates, a ascendant god of hate, the ascendant goddess of hate, the ascendant goddesses of hates, a ascendant goddess of hate, the descendant god of hate, the descendant gods of hates, a descendant god of hate, the descendant goddess of hate, the descendant goddesses of hates, a descendant goddess of hate, the transcendent god of hate, the transcendent gods of hates, a transcendent god of hate, the transcendent goddess of hate, the transcendent goddesses of hates, a transcendent goddess of hate, the future god of hate, the future gods of hates, a future god of hate, the future goddess of hate, the future goddesses of hates, a future goddess of hate, the present god of hate, the present gods of hates, a present god of hate, the present goddess of hate, the present goddesses of hates, a present goddess of hate, the past god of hate, the past gods of hates, a past god of hate, the past goddess of hate, the past goddesses of hates, a past goddess of hate, the god of hate, the gods of hates, a god of hate, the goddess of hate, the goddesses of hates, a goddess of hate, the half god of hate, the half gods of hates, a half god of hate, the half goddess of hate, the half goddesses of hates, a half goddess of hate, the vessel of hate, the vessels of hates, a vessel of hate, the person of hate, the persons of hates, a person of hate, the image of hate, the images of hates, a image of hate, the imagination of hate, the imaginations of hates, a imagination of hate, the belief of hate, the beliefs of hates, a belief of hate, the thought of hate, the thoughts of hates, a thought of hate, the word of hate, the words of hates, a word of hate, the action of hate, the actions of hates, a action of hate, the reaction of hate, the reactions of hates, a reaction of hate, the situation of hate, the situations of hates, a situation of hate, the circumstance of hate, the circumstances of hates, a circumstance of hate, the relationship of hate, the relationships of hates, a relationship of hate, the number of hate, the numbers of hates, a number of hate, the formula of hate, the formulas of hates, a formula of hate, the equation of hate, the equations of hates, a equation of hate, the symbol of hate, the symbols of hates, a symbol of hate, the color of hate, the colors of hates, a color of hate, the thing of hate, the things of hates, a thing of hate, the way of hate, the ways of hates, a way of hate, the place of hate, the places of hates, a place of hate, the time of hate, the times of hates, a time of hate, the event of hate, the events of hates, a event of hate, the result of hate, the results of hates, a result of hate,